Hello. So, mental health is something na di pa rin ako ganun ka tastefully articulate with, but I'm here to share with you some notes on mental disorder. I feel like mental health or disorder in general is a very broad topic to deal with, and hindi siya like yung tipong um, it's as easy as you ask a question and then singular na yung answer for everyone. I think there's this ongoing phenomenon na kung saan um, when you're diagnosed with this, um, it's quite similar to other diseases or not diseases, pero other disorders then as well. And I think that's very complicated to deal with when you generalize it in that way. For reference, I'm someone who's now bipolar and with a personality disorder. And I was wrongfully diagnosed back then na um, may major depressive disorder, and I used to take escitalopram, alprazolam, sertraline. There's two more, pero I forgot the other two. But I used to take 5 medications a day. Thus for now, the present date, I'm now taking just three: quetiapine, um, valproic acid, and aripiprazole. And I believe it's much better now for me on my end kasi I've been more accustomed to it and I've been more well adjusted to it. Even when I started taking back then in 2022, it was bad. It was really, really bad kasi I was lost and I didn't know how to handle it properly, yung medications and its side effects. Like, I wasn't made aware with the side effects. Like, I had to do the research on my own regarding how to deal with this medication, what should I avoid, and it's um it's a singular experience for me in a sense na yung first ever psychiatrist that I consulted with was really, really well esteemed, allegedly well esteemed, reputable, and well known by this prestige university, and she's one of the most top recommended psychiatrists in the country. And my experience with her was very, very bad. Kasi, alam mo yung tipong na, even if I had a simple question, right, after the consultation, like for example, what can I not take together with this medication? Like, kunwari, paano pag may sakit ako, tapos I can't take by flu pala with this medication. Parang, I had to even like book a session with a psychiatrist, which costs around 3,000 pesos per session. And to get a slot, parang kailangan, um, I had to wait days, hours, just for a response regarding for a schedule of availability. And I didn't feel that I was very attended to as a patient. Kaya it was um, very bad for me as a first impression of dealing with psychiatrists. The reason why siguro then why I was wrongfully diagnosed at first as major depressive disorder is because I was having this I was having this massive waves of depression back in 2022 or 2023. It was sobrang tormenting niya and sobrang life-altering experience niya for me kasi I was trigger warning, suicide. Pero I was suicidal. I was gone. I disappeared. I left work for a month. I deactivated my socials. I had a very, very bad coping mechanism, which was hooking up. Um, and I didn't know until now. Like I don't know if it was still a good coping mechanism, but it was like a way for me to only escape from myself and to not feel like I was alone with myself. Because I felt like if I were alone with myself, I would be um, endlessly spiraling down and continuously hating myself for who I am and for what I'm going through as well. And I really disappeared. And I really thought that there were some people whom I thought would stick with me, would still be there and understand and be present with what I was going through. And although I understand why they decided to just like part ways with me because I did something really bad, which in turn I apologize deeply naman to them for what I did because up to this date I still regret what I did. And it was not just towards one person pero it was specifically towards three people. Di ko na sila papangalanan pero like um if I'm going to speak about how I feel towards them right now, I don't feel any resentment towards them. I feel as if I still am rooting for the best of what they can be. Yung isa, fina-follow ko pa rin. Like, magka-followan pa rin kami sa Instagram. And it's nice na even though we're not talking anymore, we still feel, or I still feel at least, na there's this certain type of closeness that we shared together before that now was gone. Pero I believe naman na um, there can be an effort to rekindle that friendship. Pero yung other two, actually the other one was someone who I dated, and the other is someone who I had a relationship or ex ko siya. So I don't know honestly if how to feel about them. Pero I'm grateful for um what they shared with me. But setting aside all of those things, I was pleading for help talaga. Na parang, okay, I had a bad psychiatrist and my very my very first impression of a psychiatrist is someone who doesn't really care but just someone who um, prescribes medication and it's like up to you na kung how do you deal with it. So I was pleading for help and I didn't know who, what, where, or when to ask for the right help. Like I was I was lost. And I think that's one of the main things here in the Philippines na parang mahirap i-grasp in terms of when you are faced with a mental disorder or undiagnosed or diagnosed ka man. It's quite difficult for you to know where to ask for help. Kasi for example, like if you're with a family na who's not as receptive or hindi maganda yung perception sa mental health, then who do you turn to, di ba? So, hindi siya madali. I knew that it had to start somewhere and it's from within, from myself. I had to I had to trust new people again in my life. I had to let some new things be discovered into my life. I had to learn how to trust again and learn how to be mindful and selective of how I allow these things or these people, these experiences enter into my life. But don't get me wrong, like I still have people naman from the past who are still close with me, and even though we barely talk, it's not that the rarity of your communication with them discounts the closeness that you have together with them. And I think that's one of the bewildering moments that I discovered with maintaining adult friendships, which I'll think about it kung kailan ko pag-uusapan ulit. Maybe in another vlog or another video. And I think one thing that I've learned with going through different psychologists or different psychiatrists is that um, you should know when to switch up na. Kasi not all psychologists or psychiatrists will fit you, if that makes sense. Kasi there are some certain psychologists or psychiatrists who specializes in this specific field of mental disorder, and there's some naman na mas okay dito. So it's quite your assignment as well to figure out sino ba yung psychiatrist na or psychologist na pwede para sa'yo. And usually with the apps like Now Serving, um, you discover na um, there are listed doctors and nakalagay din yung mga sa mga sub head ng profile nila na they're expert in this or that. So it's quite a task for you as well to recognize na may iba-ibang psychiatrist for different disorders. I mentioned na I now am taking just 3 medications, which is um, valproic acid, quetiapine, and also aripiprazole. And I feel like it's a well custom mix of wardrobe of medications for my mental being. And I think I can't exactly prescribe the instruction that I'm going through right now to be the same for you. And I think yun yung one of the things that makes mental disorder rarely and uniquely so perplexed to understand as someone who's facing it. Like I myself am a patient, and sometimes you don't know who to share this with kasi you have people na bipolar nga pero ibang type pala, or may personality disorder nga pero ibang classification pala. So for me, it's quite a struggle for me as well to relate to other people with mental disorder kasi even though some symptoms are the same, sometimes how we go through it is the different experience. And also, something din na hindi ako na-warn at all was yung mga side effects na even though for some people, they face different side effects, for me, it was really, really like life-changing. Like, for example, weight gain, decreased libido, restlessness, difficulty waking up. So, yun yung sa akin, and something that's very continuous pa din sometimes, and it changes then, and it adapts to your system. So that's something that I'd like you to take note of when you are about to start taking medications for your mental health. I've been taking medications for 3 years now, and it's been life-changing. Like, some symptoms were decreased, some symptoms are still there. Sometimes it's quite a FOMO for me when there are things na di ko kaya magawa kasi I'm taking medication. So for example, they say na I can't drink coffee, I can't eat chocolates, I can't drink alcohol, so I can't smoke as well, or smoke cigarettes, or take nicotine, or have nicotine in my system. So it's quite unfair kasi parang I've been used to doing vices as well, and I must admit, I'm someone na even though I'm still taking medications, have I still have vices. Like, di naman tulad ng dati na parang inom ako pero now it's been lessened talaga. Pero something that I can't really erase is nicotine, chocolates, and also coffee. Kasi those are the things that help me stay more balanced, I would say, in my system. I do know for a fact na I mentioned earlier in this video na I made a mistake when I was suicidal back then, but I don't want to really, really disclose that mistake kasi I don't want to be pinned down on this platform for what I did. Pero I think what I can share to you is that it's not, or paano ba? What I want to reassure you is that even though that mistake may have defined you for who you are in the past, it doesn't dictate the path that you're going to take in the future or in the present tense na you're currently taking as a path. Kasi when you consume yourself with so much hate and so much disappointment with who you are right now, it's up to you eh. It's up to you kung how do you want to move forward with it. Like nobody else is there for you to dictate how you can be, because even though we want to surrender to whoever man yung nasa taas, kung paano tayo mag-proceed sa buhay natin, the voice, the strongest voice and the strongest advisable relationship that you can have is that trust yourself and be more instinctive with how do you want to address the situation with your current self. It's difficult how to handle the mental disorder on your own, especially during my time when I was first diagnosed with major depressive disorder. Na I was living independently, I was living alone. I at that time was not enticed with my family, and I basically plateaued down with the relationships that I have with friends and people in general. And I sort of wanted to give up in a way na parang ayoko nang magtiwala sa tao kasi I was afraid of being rejected, being abandoned, um being backstabbed with the things who I'm not really wanted to be defined as. So that's when I had this epiphany na parang, well, it's not an epiphany, it's more of like a psychotic realization na parang what if I started hooking up with other people, kasi I didn't want to feel lonely and I didn't want to feel as if I was faced with my own fears by myself. But at the same time, I didn't want na I could possibly form a connection with anyone just yet. Kasi I wanted the just the feeling of it na parang I would be with someone for a quick time, intimate and close for a short period of time. Kasi yun lang yung ginusto ko eh. Parang it sort of made me feel na parang I just wanted to have transactional relationships. And doon ko rin na-meet yung one of my exes ko sa pag-hook up. Pero I can advise you na you just have to be mindful with what you're going through. Kasi even though it may work for some people. For me, it did work somehow kasi parang it made me experience a new level of discovering myself about what do I want, what do I not want, what do I like in a guy, what do I not like in a guy. Tapos, how intimate can I be with a person lang ba? How close can I be with a person lang ba? And in that way, parang the coping mechanism of hooking up with other people was a training ground for me to discover na some things are not okay for me. Some things are okay for me as well. Pero there's this wall that I have to build when I let in people in my life. And eventually, like after many months or after 2 to 3 years, I eventually conquered the fear of being with myself. Um, I accepted and embraced who I am unapologetically, kasi alam ko naman na some people will have their own flaws. It's just a matter of how do you accept it, embrace it, and maybe put up a facade with it so that not a lot of people can directly attack you for who you are deep inside, and the bad stuff and the good stuff that comes with it as well. And I think same din naman yung masasabi ko for your life in general na you'll never know what works for you. Pero it's always a never-ending working in progress to dilute your things that doesn't work for you and to saturate what works for you as well. Kasi I think that's what makes it fun as well, like a game. Na when you end up realizing that there is so much things to discover in your life, that's what makes life exciting. Like for example, like who knows what's the new album of this artist is all about, or what's the new release of this gadget is all about. So there's a lot of things to look forward to in life pala in general, na parang things that can make you feel excited, disappointed, surprised, um, in love. So marami siyang it's like an abundance of many things for you to discover that you yourself also is abundant of many many things. So even if it comes with the con of being judged or perceived by people for what you're doing, I think it doesn't hurt naman palagi na subukan mo lang yung gusto mong gawin sa buhay mo kahit masama man sa paningin ng iba. Well, of course, dapat ethically and morally right pa din siya as long as it's within your terms. Pero wag kang matakot na you'll be perceived by people kasi sino ba sila? Like parang sino ba sila para i-judge ka kahit stranger sila or ka-close mo kung yun yung may nagwo-work para sa'yo, di ba? And I think to end this video as well, it's a common say palagi is to trust yourself, because I've heard this from a TikTok din na parang the healthiest relationship that you can ever be and you will ever be in your life is yourself. So take care of it. Don't feel as if kahit sa tingin mo naging mapangit yung relationship mo with yourself, that it's going to be like that forever. Kasi you have the power and you have the free will to change it whenever, however you like it, or whenever you want to do it. It always is a never-ending cycle na parang if you don't want this, then to go back to this. Balik-balikan mo lang yung mga gusto mong bagay sa sarili mo, and until you further have a good mix of who you are, then that's when you realize na, okay, I made it. I'm going to continue just adding the good stuff in my life. Kasi hindi naman nagtatapos ang buhay kapag nalaman mong you're all down to zero in terms of who you are as a person. And also, like, even though people say na, sige, ito, major yung depression niya, or ako, dalawa yung disorder, bipolar, type 1, tapos may personality, tapos, nagiginito pa, si ganyan, may 3 medications na tinatake. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, what people say about your disorder, like, it doesn't matter naman. It only goes to show na there's something difficult within you, yes. But at the same time, even though it's difficult, you know to yourself that it's something that you can deal with eventually. And lastly, I know na it's quite selfish of me to say na you can eventually do this and handle this by yourself. Pero trust me na if you just don't surround yourself with other people having a perception of you, and just continuously avoiding the fact na may mga triggers na pwede mag-trigger sa'yo to cause a full-blown panic attack. Just know and learn what things, what people, what instances to avoid, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Like, trust yourself lang. Kasi it's the last thing that you will, and it's not the last, but it's the only relationship with yourself that you know you can cherish, You know that you can also treasure, you can love yourself as well, pero it comes with different combinations and accumulation of many things na di mo pa siguro na-discover kaya siguro mahirap pa ngayon. But it will be okay.